Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's Jania, and today we're just going to be talking about life, faith, waiting on God, waiting on the promises of God, what that looks like, and hopefully I can leave y'all with a little bit of encouragement and some verses to go to glean some encouragement from while you're waiting on God. But we're just gonna get right into the video. So, like I told y'all, I am currently in a season, I feel, of waiting on God, waiting on the promises of God, or promises that God has specifically given to me, or one promise in specific that I'm referring to. So that has been very interesting. I've been trying to, get my faith game up, meaning like reading my word, but specifically going to verses that talk about having faith and encouraging me to like stand strong in my faith, stand firm in my faith. And it's so funny because I think when God gives you a promise, there's this kind of misconception that because God said it, like every part of the process of you waiting on it is going to be easy, and that is definitely not true. I think there are good days and then there are bad days. For me, I've noticed my good days have been like outweighing my bad days, or I've had more good days than bad days. But there are going to be those times when if God has given you something or spoken something to you specifically about your life and the purpose that he has for you, the enemy and your flesh are going to try to come in and combat what God said. So sometimes it's very normal. I feel like after God like tells you something or reveals something to you, you're just like, excited, bright-eyed, like, okay, God, like when are you going to move? When are you going to do this? Like, when is this thing going to happen? But it's funny because you'll be strong in that and you just are so certain that God gave you that. Like you have no doubt God has confirmed it to you through whatever avenue, his word, the Holy Spirit prompting you to do certain things, just certain things that God has used to confirm that he did make you a promise. You feel like really excited and hype about it. But then as life keeps going on, you're just like, I'm not seeing any evidence of the promise that you made me, God. And I think that is the part as Christians that we have to battle with very often, like God giving us a promise and not being able to see any tangible evidence or physical evidence of the thing that he's promised you. But I kind of have like went back and gleaned from certain situations, remembering when things literally look the worst they could look, that's when God stepped in and just like did his thing pretty much. So in the situation that I'm in now, like just waiting on God's promise to be fulfilled, I'm having to like juggle certain things. So I think one important thing I have kind of learned is that I don't have to know every part of my life. I don't have to know what every chapter is going to look like. I just have to trust and know that like Jesus is the author and the finisher of my faith. Like he knows what's going to happen. He has destined whatever is going to happen in my life. And I just have to trust and realize like my life is better in his hands than it is in my hands. So I've also started working on this, pretty much giving God the keys to do any and everything that he wants to do in my life, and realizing that I don't have to hold on to everything so tightly, because when I do that, I'm not allowing God to be God in my life. And that is another part of having faith. So I have been learning that, and I think that has been key through getting me through those moments where I'm like, God, I'm not really seeing evidence of the thing that you promised. But then also remembering, like I told y'all, every time it has seemed so bad in my life, or I've just been like calling on God, like, God, when are you going to make this thing happen that you promised me? Literally when it looked the worst that it could get, when all the odds were stacked against me, that's when God moved. So I've been trying to encourage myself, and I'm going to encourage you all as well to just like recall those times that God has come through for you. Like remember what it looked like when you were just like down and out on your last leg. Like, God, if you don't come through, I don't know what's going to happen. And then he came through. So just thinking about those things will help strengthen your faith as well. I just feel like it's so important to stay in that spot that I was talking about when God has promised you something and you not seeing evidence of it. I think it's so easy for the enemy to mess with our mind, but also for us to kind of feed into the thoughts that the enemy is trying to plant in our mind. Like, yeah, God did promise this to you, but literally the ways or the avenues in which you need to receive that promise, like things are not happening. It's either stalled or you're getting rejected or whatever. I think that definitely is a tactic that the enemy uses, because he knows like, although we are supposed to walk by faith and not by sight, we are humans, we're flesh, and we're just like, we want to see evidence of that thing sometimes. Like it's normal. But in order to have faith, it's knowing that even when you can't see what God is doing, or you can't see the ways in which God is making for you right now, knowing that just because I can't see it doesn't mean God isn't doing that. It doesn't mean he's not working things out on my behalf. It doesn't mean also that the promise that he gave me is necessarily like a far ways off. Like, you could be very close to receiving that promise, but just knowing that like in God's perfect timing, like you are going to receive that promise. And when it comes, you'll actually be ready to receive it. So I want to talk about specifically what I do when those thoughts come up. So in regards to what I feel like God has promised me, if I feel like I'm like encouraged and my faith is like strong, but then I'm having a moment like, well, this happened however long ago, and a couple months, a couple weeks, a couple days have passed by, and I feel like God kind of just dropped that thing on me, and then I haven't heard him say anything. What I do in those moments is I try to combat the thought almost immediately. So if it comes into my mind, like, God promised you this, but it's not looking like it's gonna happen, what I do is kind of just tell myself, like, no, God promised this to you. This was not you. So you need to stand and wait and be patient and know that, like, there are things happening that you can't see, like certain things that God could be working out that you have no idea of. So don't be so quick to just want to throw in the towel and give up faith, saying, God, oh, I don't see it, so I'm done. Like, I'm done believing you. I'm done trusting that this thing is going to happen. Instead, I'm just like, okay, I do realize in this moment, God made me a promise. I do also realize that it may look a little rough right now, but just because it looks rough does not mean that it's not going to happen. So I would just encourage y'all too. It definitely gets, it's hard, but it gets easier with time. Like, catching those thoughts and being like, okay, I can acknowledge that some things about what I'm thinking may be true, but I also don't see the full picture. God sees the full picture and he knows, and in due time, through prayer, through fasting, through whatever means, like, God is gonna bring that thing to fruition, and he's gonna reveal what needs to be revealed to me. So just like sitting back and trusting that God knows what he's doing has definitely helped me. I do want to share a verse with y'all that I feel like is just incredible. You're in a season of waiting on God's promises. I think this is just an awesome verse to go back over and look over day by day as you're continuing to wait. So the verse is Philippians 1:6. He who begun a good work in you will finish it out until completion, until the day that Jesus Christ returns. So just knowing that, like, Jesus is the one that started that good work in you. He's gonna work that thing out, and it's gonna be a completed thing when he's done in his perfect time. Like, he is going to complete that good work that he started in you. So that promise that you're waiting on, he will complete it. You will get it. You will walk in it. You'll walk in the fullness of it when you receive it. So that verse, he who begun a good work in you will bring it to completion. I don't even fully understand how to describe how I feel when I read that, but it's just like, it gives me so much hope. Like, God is not going to leave you hanging. He's going to come through, and you're going to be good, and you're going to have this as a testimony to share with other people who are in that season of waiting, like waiting on God's promise. Even though it's not easy for any of us, just hearing other people's stories of how they waited, how God has encouraged them in their waiting, has been an encouragement to me for sure. I am waiting with you, and we're going to wait patiently on the Lord, even when it's hard, even when it's tough. So I want to encourage you to keep waiting, to keep praying to God, keep asking, keep seeking him, and let me know down below if you feel like there is something in particular that you're waiting on God for. You don't have to say what it is, but just share with me how you're deciding and choosing to wait in this season, and how you're choosing to have faith in God.